Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down the official release of Chapter 1153, The Prince and the Circus Giant.
And this flashback is not pulling any punches.
Not a single one. We open on a mother, a queen, holding her newborn son, Loki, and she is so disgusted by his eyes that she orders him thrown into the underworld,
declaring him a stillborn monster. It's one of the coldest, most calculated acts of maternal cruelty we've seen in this series. It rivals anything from the Vinsmoke family.
Absolutely brutal. It sets a tone for Elbaph that is so much darker than the honorable warrior nation we've been built up to expect. If you want to follow along as we piece together how this family tragedy becomes a national curse, make sure you're subscribed. You are not going to want to miss our breakdown of the Elbaph arc as it unfolds.
Let's start at the beginning of this chapter. We go back 109 years and we see Prince Harald as a kid.
And he is not the noble king we met. He's a spoiled brat. He's hanging out with a young Dory and Bragi, and because he's an ancient giant and a prince, he thinks he can do whatever he wants.
It contextualizes him perfectly. This isn't a story about a man who was born wise. It's about a man who had wisdom beaten into him, metaphorically speaking. His status as an ancient giant, which we know from Oimo and Kashi is a big deal even among giants, combined with his royal blood, has created a child who has never been told no.
Exactly. He's got that early series Bellamy energy. All strength, all talk, no substance. He thinks because he's bigger and stronger, he's automatically right. Seeing him with Dory and Bragi is wild too. They're just his rough and tumble buddies, egging him on. You can see the roots of their 100-year duel right here. It's all about pride and bravado.
It's the baseline for giant culture, as we've understood it. Honor and strength are intertwined. To be strong is to be honorable. Harald hasn't yet learned the crucial lesson that true honor lies in how one uses their strength, not merely in possessing it.
It makes his journey so much more meaningful. He started from a place of just pure, unearned confidence. He sees his size and just assumes that means he's right about everything. It's the kind of arrogance that gets you into a world of trouble in the new world.
Which leads him directly to his first major mistake. He's sailing in the new world and comes across a town with a circus.
In that circus is a female giant named Ida. Harald's brain just immediately goes to, tiny humans are exploiting one of my kind. He doesn't ask questions, he doesn't investigate, he sees a situation through the lens of his own prejudice.
His worldview is so limited. In his mind, there's a strict hierarchy, giants on top, humans at the bottom. The idea of a symbiotic or even a friendly relationship between the two is completely foreign to him. He can only interpret the scene as a master-slave dynamic because that's how he views the world.
It's that classic hero complex with zero information. He sees a problem and thinks the solution is to punch it. He probably thought he was being so noble, so heroic. He's liberating her. And for his trouble, he gets a slap right across the face from Ida.
A truly powerful moment with her hand connecting right across his cheek. It's a complete shock to his system. She demands he turn the ship around. She wasn't a prisoner at all.
She was working there. It's such a beautiful subversion of the trope. The townspeople had saved her when she washed ashore, and she was working at the circus to repay their kindness. She was a member of their community, a beloved figure. She had a family there.
And Harald, in his misguided attempt at heroism, destroyed her home and terrorized her family. He wasn't a savior. He was a natural disaster born of arrogance. It's a poignant commentary on how good intentions, when paired with ignorance and prejudice, can be just as destructive as malice.
And then she delivers the line that changes everything for him. She tells him that his arrogance, the way he looks down on tiny humans, is what gives giants a bad name.
That's the whole theme right there. It's the central thesis of the entire Straw Hat philosophy. It's not about being strong, it's about what you do with that strength. Do you use it to protect, or do you use it to dominate and look down on everyone else? She completely humbled him. It's the kind of truth that shatters your entire reality. Imagine being told your whole life that your strength makes you superior, and then having someone of your own kind tell you that your attitude about that strength is actually your greatest weakness and a stain on your people. Super impactful.
It's the core philosophy that separates someone like Luffy from someone like Kaido or Doflamingo. Kaido believes strength is the only thing that matters, that the strong have the right to rule. Doflamingo sees others as puppets. Luffy, on the other hand, uses his incredible strength to liberate people and treat them as equals. Ida laid all of that out for Harald in one sentence. It's the lesson he desperately needed to learn to become a true king.
And to his credit, he learns it. He doesn't get defensive, he listens. He turns the ship around, he and his crew help rebuild the town. He apologizes. He actually starts to connect with the humans.
This is the moment that proves his true character. It's easy to be arrogant when you're never challenged. His willingness to admit his catastrophic error, to bow his head to the tiny humans he wronged, and to dedicate himself to making amends, that is a strength far greater than his physical size.
He starts spending time with them, sharing meals, listening to their stories. He sees them as people, not just tiny things. He realizes he can learn from them, their ingenuity, their sense of community, their resilience. And in the process, he and Ida fall in love.
And what a foundation for our relationship. It wasn't built on him saving a damsel in distress. It was built on her calling him out on his flaws and making him a better person. It's a partnership of equals, forged in respect. He fell in love not just with her, but with the person she inspired him to become.
That's a real partnership. So much healthier than, say, the relationships we saw in Whole Cake Island, which were all political alliances and tools for control. This was genuine.
But there's a complication. Ida reveals she wasn't born in Elbaph, a fact that she seems to think isn't important, but you just know with these prideful, isolated nations, that's immediate foreshadowing.
Which you just know is going to be a problem for the old guard in a prideful warrior nation like Elbaph. It's the same kind of thinking that kept Wano closed off for centuries. But for now, it's just this beautiful moment. He invites her to come home with him, not as a prize, but as a partner.
He announces his plan to travel the world, not to conquer, but to atone for his misdeeds and build bridges. He wants to share knowledge and create bonds with other nations. This is Odin 2.0, but with a plan.
The parallel is undeniable. Like Odin, he was a brash, powerful youth who had a transformative experience with the outside world. But unlike Odin, whose journey was one of personal adventure, Harald's is a diplomatic mission. He wants to systematically change his country's relationship with the world.
He's trying to undo the very prejudice that Ida called him out on, but on a national scale. He wants to turn Elbaph from an isolated nation of proud warriors into a respected global leader. He wants to share their knowledge, their stories, their culture. It's so noble.
This is the birth of the Elbaph we've heard so much about, the honorable, welcoming nation of giants that Saul described. It all stemmed from this one moment of humility. It's a testament to how one person's change of heart can ripple outwards and change the destiny of a nation.
He even mentions Dory and Brogy, who are out there causing a ruckus. He says he trusts their honor will keep them from hurting humans, but he promises to step in and rein them in if they go too far. It's him taking responsibility for his people on the world stage.
It shows he still feels a sense of responsibility for his people. He's not just a prince anymore. He's thinking like a king, a diplomat. He's trying to build the kind of world alliance that the world government only pretends to offer, one based on mutual respect, not subjugation.
It's such a pure motive. It's about respect, not control. The kind of thing that the five elders would absolutely despise. You can't control a world where everyone is friends.
But even the purest motives can be complicated by tradition. We jump forward to 81 years ago.
And Ida gives birth to their son, Hajarbrudin, our boy from the Grand Fleet, the pirate mercenary.
So this is his origin. He's the son of King Harald and the giantess Ida. But he's not a prince. He's royalty by blood, but not by law.
Because the elders of Elbaph refused to let Harald marry Ida. She wasn't born there. She's an outsider. It's heartbreaking. Harald is the king, and he's powerless against this xenophobic tradition. It's that deep-seated cultural poison. Even the king can't just change centuries of prejudice overnight.
Ida accepts it with a quiet dignity. She and Hajarudin are allowed to live in a nearby village, but they can never be the official royal family. It's a quiet tragedy built on prejudice. It also explains so much about Hajarudin. His desire to become king of the giants isn't just ambition. It's a quest to claim a birthright that was denied to him because of who his mother was.
And to seal the deal, the elders arrange a marriage for Harald. He has to marry a woman named Estrid to secure a proper heir. This is where it all starts to smell rotten.
Estrid. She's from a northern village and studies geomancy, the reading of fortunes from the land. But right from the start, she feels suspicious. It seems to paint her as a social climber.
Her obsession with omens and signs just felt like she wanted a life of luxury. The royal guards notice it right away. She even gives Harald a horse of fortune as a gift, but it all feels very transactional, very cold.
She's an opportunist hiding behind mysticism. It's a classic manipulator's tactic. By claiming to have special insight into fate or the will of the gods, she can frame her own selfish desires as cosmic necessities. She's not there for Harald or for Elbaph. She's there for the status. She is Harald's Kozuki Sukiyaki to his Odin, the weak link that allows evil to enter the castle.
You can just feel the dread building. This is not going to end well. We then get a brief glimpse of Harald's diplomatic efforts around 70 years ago.
He's off at sea, sharing navigation knowledge, telling stories of his travels. He mentions visiting Fishman Island and seeing their newborn prince, Neptune.
I love that. It shows how long these timelines are. Harald was a contemporary of a young Neptune. He was really out there building the connections he promised he would. He was doing the right thing, trying to create a better world. He was forging a bond with the Fishmen, another race that suffers from prejudice. He was living up to the promise he made to Ida.
It's so tragic in hindsight. He's out there fighting against prejudice on a global scale, completely unaware that the same prejudice is festering back in his own home, in his own bed. He's fixing the world while his own house is rotting from the inside.
But while the good king is away, the new queen gives birth. This is 63 years ago.
And this is where it all goes wrong. Estrid gives birth to her and Harald's son, Loki, and the moment she sees him, she's horrified.
It's his eyes. Apparently his unusual eyes repulsed her, and they're not just a weird color. They have a pattern, almost like a ripple or a strange symbol in them. It's unlike any eyes we've seen before.
And her reaction is instantaneous and absolute. There's no maternal instinct, no confusion, just pure, unadulterated disgust.
She doesn't just recoil. She calls her own infant a cursed monster. She immediately concocts a lie, ordering the kingdom to be told that the prince was stillborn. This wasn't a crime of passion or postpartum madness. This was a premeditated cover-up.
And then she does the unthinkable. She has Loki thrown into the underworld.
What even is the underworld in Elbaph? Is it a literal hell, a chasm under the great tree? The way they talk about it, it sounds like a place of no return, a garbage dump for cursed things. And she threw her baby into it to die. That is one of the most evil things a parent has done in this entire story. Big Mom devours people, but this feels colder. It's an erasure.
She tries to erase his existence completely. She orders everyone to say she never even bore a child and makes plans to go back to her home village so she can't have another. It's a scorched earth policy on her own motherhood. She's not just getting rid of the child, she's getting rid of the evidence that she was ever connected to him.
It's so calculated. This wasn't a moment of panic. It was a cold, deliberate act of cruelty to preserve her own status. But her plan doesn't quite work.
Because Loki survives. And not only does he survive being thrown out, the infant starts climbing back toward the sun world.
That kid has some serious will. As a baby, climbing out of whatever hell she threw him into, that's the spirit of a conqueror right there, for better or for worse. He's a survivor from his first moments of life. It's like a baby Doflamingo, surviving the hatred of the world and being forged by it.
Shortly after this, Estrid falls ill. She becomes bedridden. It seems like it might be from the stress of her own monstrous act, or perhaps it's a psychosomatic manifestation of her guilt.
Good. I hope it was painful. I hope every night she saw those unusual eyes in her dreams.
And on her deathbed, she plants one last seed of poison. She claims she has foreseen through her geomancy that Loki, the child she tried to murder, will one day kill his father, Harald.
Of course she did. The ultimate scapegoat. It's the perfect evil plan. Step 1, create a monster by abandoning him. Step 2, create a prophecy to justify your actions and make everyone else want to kill him for you. He must be eliminated, she says. She's weaponizing the superstitions of her own people against her son.
At the time, no one believed her. They saw it as the ramblings of a dying, guilt-ridden woman. But the idea was out there. The story was told. And a story once told can take on a life of its own.
And it gets worse, because around this same time, Harald's diplomatic efforts start to fail. He runs into interference from the world government. All these struggles, all these misfortunes that start to fall upon Elbaph, treaties falling apart, relationships souring.
They all get blamed on the story of the cursed prince. The whispers start. The story of the queen's deathbed prophecy gets retold, embellished. The misfortunes aren't political or natural. They become known as Loki's curse.
It's the perfect cover story. The world government is actively sabotaging Elbaph's relationships with other nations, probably using early CP agents or sowing discord. And everyone in Elbaph is blaming a baby that a crazy queen threw down a hole. It's tragic.
It is. A nation's political struggles, born from the jealousy and strategic interference of the world government, are mythologized as a family curse. It protects the real culprits and damns an innocent child. It's a classic world government tactic. Create a problem, then provide a false narrative to explain it, one that directs the people's anger inward or toward a convenient scapegoat. They did it in Dressrosa with the Riku family, and it seems they did it here too.
And that child is still climbing. He's going to come back, and he is not going to be happy. Super tragic. Man, this one hit hard.
It reframes the entire Elbaph we thought we knew. It has this deep, dark secret right at the heart of its royal family, a secret born of prejudice, ambition, and cruelty.
Before we get to predictions, I just have to wonder about Loki's eyes. Is it a bloodline thing, a power from another race, some kind of devil fruit manifested at birth? I have so many theories.
My first thought is that Estrid's prophecy is going to be a self-fulfilling one.
How so?
She didn't foresee that Loki would kill Harald. She created the conditions that would lead him to do it. Think about it. Loki is going to emerge from this underworld, not knowing a mother's love or a father's protection. His entire existence has been defined by rejection and a curse bearing his name. When he learns the truth, who will he blame? He'll blame the system, the kingdom that allowed this to happen, and the king at its head. By abandoning him, cursing him, and turning the world against him, she set him on a path of pure revenge. The only parent he'll ever know is the world that rejected him.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to come back with a major chip on his shoulder. My first prediction is that the end of this flashback is going to be Harald returning home from one of his long diplomatic voyages. He's been away doing his kingly duties, and he's going to find out what Estrid did. He'll find out she died, that she tried to kill his son, and a curse has been named after him. I think he's going to be horrified and try to find Loki, but it will be too late. The damage will already be done. The kingdom will fear Loki, and Loki will already hate the kingdom.
My second prediction is about those eyes. I don't think they're just unusual color. I believe they're a sign of a different lineage. Estrid, the woman from the northern village, might not have been a pure giant. She may have had blood from another race, perhaps the three-eyed tribe, or something from the sky, or something even older and more feared. And Loki's eyes revealed that secret heritage. She wasn't disgusted with him. She was terrified of being exposed. Her entire claim to the throne was based on being a proper giantess, and her son was living proof that she was a fraud. Getting rid of him was an act of self-preservation.
That would recontextualize her entire motive. It wasn't about him being a monster, it was about her hiding her own secret. Okay, my second prediction, we're going to see the infant Loki emerge from the underworld, but he won't be an infant anymore. Whether time moves differently down there, or he was found and raised by something else, maybe other creatures that were cast down there, he's going to appear as a young man, twisted by his experience and ready for a confrontation. I don't think we're going to see his entire childhood. I think he's going to emerge fully formed as an antagonist, a product of the darkness he was thrown into.
Building on that, my final prediction is that the world government interference will be shown to be the work of a young St. J. Garcia Saturn. We know he has a history with giants because of what he did to Kuma and the Buccaneer race, who were said to have the strength of giants. He would have been active during this period. I think we will see him personally orchestrating the downfall of Harald's diplomacy, perhaps meeting with the Elbaph elders and subtly reinforcing the rumors of the curse. Using the curse as a convenient narrative to isolate the powerful nation of Elbaph fits his MO perfectly. He is a master of manipulating information and mythology to achieve political ends. They did it in Dressrosa with the Riku family, and it seems they did it here too.
Oh, that would tie everything together perfectly. We know the five elders have been playing the long game for centuries. Showing Saturn pulling the strings behind the scenes would connect Elbaph's internal tragedy to the larger overarching conflict of the entire series. All right, that's all for this week.
What a chapter! The history of Elbaph is far more dark and complex than we ever imagined. The honorable warrior nation has a foundation of deep, tragic sin.
It sure does. Join us next time as we hopefully get to see what a grown-up, fresh out of hell Loki looks like. Until then, stay super!